Amy's in America, Gillian's in Australia. Hello, ladies.
Hello, Karen. Hello, Julian.
Good morning. Hey.
So, breaking news! Obviously,
What is it?
people will have just seen the little video about the helicopter and Trump being taken off. So what do you make about that, girls?
Oh, well, I heard last night, late last night was the news broke that Trump and his wife, had tested positive, but it said that they didn't feel sick or anything, and they were going to self-quarantine. I thought it said at the White House, but now obviously they're saying that they're having to rush Trump off to the Walter Reed Hospital. So
hang on, he tested positive, but he feels okay. And that was last night, and then, several hours later he's been raced to the hospital? Is that what's happened?
Yes, I believe so, yes.
But he didn't feel bad.
Right, they felt fine, both of them, him and his wife.
Because I've just had the flu. I haven't had COVID. I don't think. I haven't had. Try not to say that word. I don't know what to make of that at all.
Well,
Gillian, Amy thinks that they've packed up and left anyway.
Yeah, I do. I think, I don't know where our leaders are, but I think they're using those computer programs that we see on the television and everything. So it makes me wonder, where are the actual people if they have to use all this computer-generated images of them all the time, and just the way they've been speaking. Like, even Prince Charles, that we have to have a military-type government. It just didn't remind me of something that Charles would have ever said. So, yeah, I'm wondering where they even are.
Maybe that means they're marked people now.
Right. But when I first heard the news last night, I just thought, oh, what is this twist now in this whole narrative? And I just thought, if this doesn't show people that Trump is part of the whole thing, now he's going along with the whole dialogue by allowing them to say that, he's tested positive, him and his wife. To me, it was like, just showed you what a part of this whole thing he is.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
watched a video the other week that said he was here to bring in martial law, really.
Yeah, we watched that. We did that one together on the Hangouts. Yeah.
Oh,
He'd be the first president to bring in martial law.
Right. And,
but he doesn't need to do that because the people are really peaceful. We didn't need one police officer or a soldier to close down for sort of 4 or 5 months. So we're peaceful people. Right. There was no looting, rioting, fighting. There was nothing. So there's no need for this. They just want utter domination, don't they?
Exactly. And the Hard News TV channel, she thinks that what this news script is, that because Trump didn't wear a mask, he really wasn't like a big pusher of the masks. He didn't make it a nationwide mandatory thing. He didn't like wearing them himself. And so she thinks that the new thing will be now everybody will have to wear a mask, throughout the country after this. And of course, the push
don't forget, the media are making all the news. They're making it all anyway.
Well, you know what the mask is for? I've heard that the mask is so that the AI can hone in on eye recognition.
Yeah.
So if the rest of our face is covered, then the AI, it makes its job a little bit easier to pick out our eyes and do that facial recognition. I don't think they'll need to do it forever, but maybe it's just helping it in the beginning to
right. I heard that.
Down and Yeah, you heard that as well?
I did, Joey, and yes, I heard the same thing. Yes. And my sister, she went to the bank a couple of days ago, and they had a loudspeaker saying that you had to stop and have your temperature taken, and you had to stand like in a certain area, and she had a mask on and everything, but it had a camera, and it took her face, facial image, and her temperature. And then I told her, well, then that was facial recognition, what they did to you. And she said, well, but I have my mask on. All they're going to see is my eyes. I said, yep, that's what they want to do. They just need your eyes for it. That's part of the agenda.
Do you want to hear? I don't want to play it. I'm gonna leave that. Right, I can't play the video, but listen to what this is a person talking about it. It's so funny. Listen to this. Right, one's got a mask on, one hasn't.
Where is your face covering? Where is your face? I am stopping a deadly virus from spreading. I can't breathe though. Are we talking about the virus with the 0.4% mortality rate? It has an over 99% recovery rate. Bro, your facts do not matter when you can be asymptomatic and spread the virus to somebody more vulnerable like your grandmother. What you're not going to do is emotionally manipulate me into compliance. Because as of April 2nd, the World Health Organization has admitted there are few cases that are truly asymptomatic. And to date, there have been no documented asymptomatic transmission. And according to a study published by the National Library of Medicine, they exposed an asymptomatic person of 455 uninfected and tracked the infection rate, and none of them contracted the virus. Bro, stop lying. I'm not lying. All the links to everything I've said will be in the description box of this video. Damn it, just wear a mask so we can slow the spread. This is about safety. You know what? I would get into the adverse side effects of wearing a mask, but a wise man once said to guard with jealous attention the public liberty and suspect anyone who comes near that precious jewel. That being said, the fact that you can wear a mask made out of literally any material lets me know this is not about safety. This is about social engineering, and I have a problem with that. Over 450,000 people have died, and all you can talk about is liberty. You don't care people are dying. You're evil. Okay, but if I'm evil, then so are you. I'm doing my part to slow the spread. Look at me. But you literally didn't do none of this back in 2018. Now you're going to try to tell me the flu killed 80,000 people in 2018. That talking point is plain out. This virus is way more deadly. It has killed more people than the flu. I'm not talking about the flu. I'm talking about tuberculosis. Didn't do none of this back in 2018.
Sorry, we've gone back a little bit.
You're going to try to tell me the flu killed 80,000 people in 2018. That talking point is plain out. This virus is way more deadly. It has killed more people than the flu. I'm not talking about the flu. I'm talking about tuberculosis. Yeah. It killed 1.5 million people. Are you shitting me? Yeah. You did not wear a mask. We did not lock down.
He's taking his mask off now.
1.5 million people that died. 250,000 children lost their lives. Hospitals were not overrun.
He's leaving now.
No one talked about flattening that curve. CNN did not keep a death count yet. Let's talk about it.
That was the end of it. But basically, what he was saying was that tuberculosis killed more people than they're talking about now. So nobody wore masks or anything then.
That's right. Right.
It's quite awful putting us in this position because it's not just the masks, is it? It's people's jobs, people's lives, it's economies, businesses. It's we can't talk to each other. We're basically like, I think you just have to get on with your life. But they're promoting we don't have lives anymore.
Exactly.
That's what they're
It's
promoting.
awful. Yes.
Can't be more than 6 in a house. But I do like what Amy says. That he's got it now means he's one of them. For sure. I mean, if you're in any doubt, you know now.
Right.
My mum is going for a colonoscopy next week, and she has to quarantine for 7 days. But her husband is allowed out to do whatever he wants. And so I said to her, so you're in pretend quarantine. She's like, I do love talking to you. And I'm like, well, think about it. You're not in quarantine. Quarantine is you're not meant to have see anybody. Like, if you were to cross the border, they would lock you up in a motel and you wouldn't be allowed to go anywhere.
James's mum's like that. James can go out, but his mum's in quarantine because she, she had next week she has to go into quarantine because her operation's a week after.
Yes, but he can go
and then
out.
I said to Mum, because she goes, I'm not going to get this. Your grandfather and I, we're not going to get this disease. We're just going to make sure we stay away from everywhere. And I'm like, it's airborne, don't you?
Right.
Like, that's the latest on it. It's airborne.
Right.
Look at that. The truth about unemployment, millions of jobs destroyed. That's what's happened. Millions of jobs have been destroyed. It's the most... I've never known anything like this in my life, ever.
Me neither.
But we don't know what they were telling people in the Second World War. People just believed it then. Must have believed they were at war and they weren't. So every time they sent planes out, they were just to destroy all the Tartaria buildings and make sure that people were quarantined to take their children. It's just...
Oh,
I still think there was a war. I just think there was a lot of other shit going on as well.
Yeah, but I think that there's a lot more awake people now. People know there's something wrong. Most people do, even if they don't speak out.
Exactly. That's right.
We'll go for a few more minutes. We've got 13 minutes on here, so I just wanted, ask Amy, what's your view on all this that your president now has got and his wife quarantined?
Yeah, I mean...
How can he run the country quarantined?
Well, that's the thing. They're saying that if they, make the narrative go that he gets very ill and he can't, do his job, then our vice president would take over, Mike Pence. But if he should get sick, then we have Nancy Pelosi would take over, and she would be the president because she's Speaker of the House.
I've heard the Trump believers say that Trump has, because Trump says something and everybody does the complete opposite. So they reckon he's backing the vaccines and then calling people out, like, well, why haven't you had the vaccine? On the other side.
Right.
So they still think that he's the good guy in the background, even though he's on the evil side. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Do you know something? I don't know what it is, but when I go out shopping or something and I see the people with all the masks on and they're all around, I just hate it. I feel so... none of these, you can't see any of their faces. There's just, I just hate it.
Me too.
And people say, you're a conspiracy theorist and you're against everything, but actually when this all happened, I learned about it in January. I actually tried to go and buy face masks, couldn't get the N95s here in Australia, anywhere, even in a small country town. I even started making face masks. So, in the beginning, I actually thought all these face masks and things worked. It's only as more information's come out and But even in the beginning, I was going,
Did you
how
hear
are we
what
going to
that
get the
bloke said,
M95
though, on that little
masks?
bit of video? He said, when you're prepared to make a mask out of any material ever, this is the planademic. Or every word he used.
And I thought it had to be the M95 masks or nothing. That's what I thought it was going to be in the beginning. And then I thought, well, that's just unrealistic. They're never going to be able to get enough of those for 7 billion people. And then like 3 a day, or however many you need to use.
Well, I asked the lady in the shop today. She's got a medical condition, but when I saw her, she said she was a legal secretary and there wasn't actually any law to say you had to wear masks. But now Tesco staff, they've brought a new law in the last couple of days that even the staff have to wear masks. She doesn't because she's got whatever it is that she doesn't have to wear one, but she says she does.
Right.
But she's putting on 2 or 3 masks a day and she can't breathe in a mask.
Oh.
I would just cut a slit straight across the middle of mine so I could breathe.
I know.
I want to make a mask that says my mask does not work.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You walk around with it on the front saying this doesn't work.
Yes, that's a great idea.
And then there's someone else is like, I can't breathe in my mask. Can you?
Yeah.
And then I thought, because it's not compulsory here, or any of it, because we don't have COVID, so none of that sort of stuff's happening. But I thought if it does, I'm actually just going to get full-on Halloween masks.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yes.
And then I'm going to go and attempt to deposit some money in my bank account with all my masks on. And somebody else is walking around and he's just saying to people, you know, I could be robbing you now.
Hey, can I ask you something? I've stopped this footage with Trump. I can't really work out what it is, and even if I zoomed in, it's a bit blurry. But there could be letters on top of the hedge, or that could be a 44. I wonder what that means. Could be a 44 in there, or that could be an H. But there's something there above the hedge.
Well,
you'll see it on the video, but it could be 44. I wonder what a 44 means. Remember, it's got to be above 31 or 30 something. Do you remember we took it off a video the other day with numbers? Has to be, when it's above 30 something, it means one thing, and when it's below 30 something, it means something else.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the 44 would mean. I mean,
I don't get too much into the decoding of words and numbers.
No, but there's numbers everywhere. There's always numbers on everything. It's always important to have numbers.
Because each different language has different amounts, like their letters correlate to different numbers. So you don't know which language you're looking at.
That's true.
And which way they're decoding it. So that they're there is enough for me. I don't try to understand any of it, because I think like that other program that we saw, I do think a lot of it is just the mathematics of the technology.
Yeah,
it's just showing up here and there.
Yes.
I don't know that it's intentional coding. And I did agree with him. It would be the dumbest way to fucking communicate with each other.
Yes.
Well, it is really, but it might be how the AI sees things. And
that's what I would say. Yes. And then we pick up on, because we're designed to do pattern recognition. So we pick up on the patterns, we recognise and we see them, and then we're trying to work out what the hell that means.
Yes, that's right.
But it could mean so many different things on a fractal pattern layer that you need the key. You need the key to decode that particular thing.
Is there anything else you want to say? Because we've been going for 20 minutes now. We're just doing a little video. Is there anything else? I mean, I know that how Amy feels. What about you, Gillian? Do you want to add anything else?
About the Trump thing, well, I've only heard of it 5 minutes ago, so...
Are you shocked? What does that mean? How can he run the country with COVID when he's on lockdown? How does that work?
Yeah, but, well, you don't... See, everybody thinks you get this COVID and you die. No, only a very small percentage of them are sick enough to die.
Yeah, and that's obviously if they've got other complications.
But because they seem to be advertisements, you know, same as Hollywood, Why did Tom Hanks and his wife have to go spend their quarantine in hospital here? Why didn't they just stay in a motel like everybody else?
Oh, do you know what I've noticed? Oh my goodness, sorry. Trump is walking across this bit. There's some kind of roof. But what it is there's a straight line going down the picture to the trees. There's no way trees are going to start over a straight line. There's a box up there. I don't know what that is. It's just by the Sky News. Whether it's just the Sky News bit thing, I don't know. But you can see the tree here above that bit. But there's a straight line down there. Ugh. Anyway, carry on.
Wow.
Carry on. I just noticed that. Carry on.
It's like 75% of our deaths have happened in nursing homes. So...
Yeah, but that's probably because they were put on respirators, which say no. How can you have no resuscitation on the patients? That is not an ethical thing. That's not what hospitals are about. How come they've just fallen in? Oh, it might be TIH, whatever that is. But anyway, I mean the wording in there. Home. But how could they do that?
Because people think, because they put the word nursing in the word nursing home, everybody thinks that there's actually nurses in these homes, but there's not.
That's right.
And
it's just AIDS.
Yeah, so they end their life instead of sending them to the hospital, but that's because the government decided, or whoever makes the rules of the hospitals, decided that the nursing home patients shouldn't come to hospital, or if they did come to hospital, as soon as they were well enough to be looked after, they sent them back to the nursing home. So they just sent the disease back out to the nursing home.
Yes.
But if they'd got the flu that I just had, that would be enough to knock you out. I could barely breathe. I could barely catch my breath.
Wow.
It's inhumane. It's insanity. This is insanity. This is utter insanity. The whole thing. Utter insanity.
It is.
And then I'm pretty sure that the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control in America, they have restated that 93% of the deaths of COVID in America were not COVID. They died with COVID, but not from COVID.
That's right.
But nobody's talking about that. They haven't dropped the numbers down to, okay, so now it's only X amount. Because America's stats are just laughable. You've got 50% of the deaths in the world. There's something wrong with your numbers. And then the whole world...
Yeah, but they've got to be big. They've got to be big because they've got to make it look like it's real. So they've got to be big figures so that people think, oh my God, half the country's dying.
There should have been 20 million dead by now. We're 6 months into this. Where are the 20 million that we're going to die?
Well, I'm not.
And that was an underestimate. Like...
Yes. Yeah, they just inflated the numbers. They've had to put
still more people die of cancer and other diseases, and nobody's kicking up a stink about that.
What you need to do is you need to stay away from the doctors. Never ever go to the doctors unless you're really, really, really ill. Do not go. You'll live longer and not going to the doctors.
I agree.
And I know, listen, I have Lisa downstairs. She's still staying with me, but she's gone to sleep now. But she basically said that if she went back on a bus, you have to do a temperature check on it and everything. Like, oh my God, every time you get on the bus, you got to go through all that. Like, she didn't want to go on the bus.
Know. Right. Yes, yeah, that's just like my sister.
Well, like in my part of the country, there's no COVID. Only what they let in from overseas, and then they lock it down or whatever. But we've still got dots to stand on, so we've got to be a metre apart.
So we're like
and the restaurants are still at half capacity. So why? There is no virus here.
Right.
Why are you posing, like, Australia's a big country, so one little chunk has a problem and the rest of the country has got to pretend that we've got it as well?
That's right.
You know what that's about, because they're all working together, playing their game.
Right.
I put out a video yesterday that Amy was on, and the guy's going, the spike's going up. It's not over. And you're like, oh my God.
It's like every government in the world wants to create civil war in their own country. I mean, the people need to stand up and dismiss their governments.
But that's going to happen, isn't it? Because if you lock people down and you change their lives, in the end, you're going to cause aggression and people are going to lash out.
That's right.
Or they're going to do what they did like at the march last Saturday. Everybody was peaceful. Hundreds and hundreds of police came in. They riled everybody up. The police caused it. Then they film it. Then it looks like the people are out of order. And that's what the people. That's what the nationwide is told. Look at London. Look at them. They're all rioting, which they weren't.
Right.
To be honest with you, the only people that's falling for that are the people over 70 that don't have the internet, don't use it, maybe just to email. Everybody else, I don't know anyone that watches television anymore, except my parents.
Yeah.
So I don't know who they're brainwashing. They might think they're brainwashing the whole country, but they're not anymore.
Well, thousands of people are still watching the news. I don't think thousands have watched this. 2,700 or something have watched this Sky one. But thousands of people are watching it. You know, that debate the other day, thousands of people watched it. You know, they're watching all this stuff.
Right.
But they're not, you know, that debate they had the other day, okay, it should have been Biden and Trump. But they're not talking about the economy. They were just like, Trump was talking over everybody, and it was horrible. Even the guy, the fake guy, because it was all made. It was all one of those virtual reality programs. Nobody was really there, and it didn't really happen. But Trump talked over the top of the guy who was the guy in the middle, the referee, and it was horrible. Like, for the first 20 minutes, I gave up after about 20 minutes because Trump didn't stop.
Well, yeah, I didn't even watch it at all.
Do you think we should Do you think we should stop our little hangout now?
Oh, sure.
We just wanted to make that point, didn't we?
Yes.
So, Amy, 1 to 10, what's your score?
As far as
you're president.
Well, boy, right now, I guess about a 1, I have to say. I'm just very disappointed that, he went along with everything. And my daughter, she said he has to go along with this.
Well, he's not a real person anyway, about 3 or 4 people play him, but what's yours, Trouble?
Right.
What's yours, Trouble?
Well, depends what I'm looking from, what point of view. Looking at Trump single, like, yes, a 1. But compared to what else? He moves up to 10.
Do you know what mine is? Do you know what mine is? He gets it's a 0 from me. 0.
But when you realise both sides are working together, and you think, why would they put Biden up against him? It's because they want to make sure that he gets in. And then they're going to play victims and pretend they didn't know it was going to happen. It's really laughable.
You know, I just realised as well, I haven't zoomed in,
right.
But I think he's got writing on his sleeve and across his jacket. I think there's letters there, same thing. So this is wrong up here on a bit, because I just stopped it. That's wrong. And this is wrong. But anyway, so 0 from me, 1 from Amy, 1 from Trouble. Anything else before we go?
Just be interesting to see how this new thing plays out, this new twist or whatever. Wow.
But they've got to make stories, haven't they? It's got to be keeping us on the edge of our seats, keeping us in anxiety, keeping us worried. For those that haven't woken up, they're going to think, oh my God, the president's got it now.
Yeah, people are really upset. Yes, distraction.
I'd have a look at what legislation's going through Parliament at the moment then.
Yes,
because of this
great
weird
point.
distraction.
Yeah, it's all a distraction. That's a good point to end on. We are living in distraction. That's all it is.
Yes.
Ladies, thank you so much for your time. Amy?
Oh, you're welcome.
Gillian? And chat room. Thanks very much from us. Bye, everybody.
Oh, bye, everyone.